What is up, everybody? Eric here from That's Wrestling. Thanks for tuning in today. If you would like to get a hold of me, you can shoot me an email, eric@thatswrestling.com. Also, I am looking for a co-host or co-hosts for doing the AEW post show, also New Japan stuff. So if you're interested, and you don't have to be for both, you can be for one or the other. I could go with a consistent one or a rotating set of them. So whatever, if you're interested, shoot me an email, eric@thatswrestling.com. If you are watching this over on YouTube, you can get this in podcast form. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can go check this out on YouTube. I'm actually doing this live at the moment on YouTube. So if you want to go over there, you can find the channel link in the show notes, and vice versa for YouTube as well. You can find it on all your various podcast platforms. If you can't find it on a certain platform, shoot me an email and let me know which platform it's not showing up on. If you can't find it on yours, you can still go over to thatswrestling.com to pick up the RSS feed over there. And yeah, so let's get to it. So today I'm going to be talking about New Japan's Power Struggle 2019. This took place on November 3rd. So this is Sunday, so a few days ago. It was actually a really good show. It's kind of like their last major show going into Wrestle Kingdom. And we had a few title matches on this card, and then we had kind of your typical undercard. So just getting right into it, we had Kevin Kelly and Gino Gambino and Chris Charlton on commentary for the English side. And then we had a few undercard matches. Nothing major happened in them. They're really short. We had one that was Uemura, Taguchi, Tiger Mask, Jushin Thunder Liger versus TJP, Clark Connors, Teton, and Volador Jr. This was a quick 5-minute opener. TJP pinned Uemura with the detonation kick. Just a really quick match. And then there's also a relatively quick match between Robbie Eagles and Rocky Romero versus the current IWGP Junior Tag Champions Taiji, Ishimori, and El Phantasmo from Bullet Club. So we had a Chaos faction versus Bullet Club faction. And hey, the ref actually tried to get ELP and Ishimori to stop standing on Robbie Eagles' crotch over in the corner. So that's a little bit of an improvement. And then the tag champions, of course, picked up the win after Ishimori hit Bloody Cross and ELP hit CR2 on Rocky Romero. So two quick openers. Then we had a Suzuki-gun versus LIJ match. We had Lance Archer, Minoru Suzuki, and Zack Sabre Jr. versus Evil, Sanada, and Shingo Takagi. At one point in this match, Suzuki and Shingo just get into a major slap fight. Punches, chops, they were just beating the crap out of each other. It's something that's Minoru Suzuki likes to do, so it showed up in this. And Shingo Takagi, man, he took some wicked shots from Suzuki. The finishing sequence was interesting. Zack Sabre Jr. and Sanada exchange roll up after roll up after roll up. It had to have been like 20 different pin attempts until finally Sanada pinned Zack Sabre Jr. So coming out of this, probably look for Sanada to be challenging Zack Sabre Jr. in the future for the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship, because Zack Sabre Jr. is currently the British Heavyweight Championship over at Rev Pro. So maybe Sanada will be challenging. So look for that in the future. It's probably a good bet. I don't see why this wouldn't happen. Also, after the match, during and after the match, Lance Archer challenged Finlay for a U.S. Championship match in San Jose. So that will actually be taking place this weekend. So November 9th, they have a show in San Jose. So that will be a title match that will be taking place between Lance Archer and David Finlay. And then Shingo and Suzuki continued to fight on the outside after the match. They just want to kill each other. And it seems that those two are going to have a match at some point. I don't know if it's going to be at San Jose. I don't know if it's going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. So I guess we will see how this plays out. But there's definitely something going on between those two. And then before the next match, Kevin Kelly announced that Tiger Hattori will be joining him for commentary at the San Jose show. So that should be interesting. Tiger Hattori has recently retired as being a ref, which I saw him over in the Massachusetts show a few months ago, or actually just about 2 months ago at this point. So it looks like he will be joining Kevin Kelly for commentary at San Jose. So that should be interesting. I don't think I've really heard him speak much. But I mean, he's lived in like New York City for like the past 20 years, so I'm assuming he speaks English just fine. And then we had a Wrestle Kingdom preview match. So this was Hiroshi Tanahashi and Kota Ibushi versus Kazuchika Okada and Yoshi-Hashi. The biggest thing in this was that Okada and Yoshi-Hashi were working heel. They were just kind of using a little bit of underhanded tactics. They're kind of mocking and I don't know a good word for it, goading in a few things, but really it's not like they were super heel, but they were definitely working heel. Yoshi-Hashi hit a Kumagoroshi on Tanahashi for a 2 count, and then Yoshi-Hashi goes for karma, but Tanahashi does a twist and shout. Then he hits Sling Blade, and then Tanahashi hits High Five Flow for the win. So relatively quick match. Ibushi and Okada had a little bit of a stare down. This will kind of play in near the end of the show as well, since they will be facing each other at Wrestle Kingdom. After the match, the lights cut out, and a video plays of Chris Jericho beating up a bunch of people who look like Tanahashi fans. Or I just kind of buried the lead on that one. It pans up after a bunch of Tanahashi fans are laid out, and it's Chris Jericho on the screen challenging Tanahashi to a match at Wrestle Kingdom for night 2. And Tanahashi grabs the mic. He says he doesn't have any plans for the Tokyo Dome, so it sounds like that is an acceptance. Then we had this has been a little bit of a grudge match. We had Tetsuya Naito and Taichi. They have been having some issues, especially during the G1, since Naito lost the IC title since the G1, but Taichi beat Naito at the G1. So normally this would set up, since Naito was the IC champion during the G1 and Taichi beat him, this would normally set up a title match sometime between the G1 and Wrestle Kingdom. But since then, Naito has lost the IC title to Jay White. So Taichi is kind of like, okay, now I have this match with Naito. It's not for the title. He's kind of ticked off about it. But yeah, since Naito had already lost the title, he couldn't do anything about it. So it's leaving Taichi out in the cold because the title was already gone before he got his shot at Naito for it. Naito got slowly into the ring, and the two of them go at it right away at the bell. They quickly move into brawling to the outside. Both guys are just trying to kill each other, and they brawl into the crowd. Naito gets sent into the seats, wiping out like 5+ rows, just like bowling ball through. Not as bad of a bowling ball as Will Ospreay in one of the Super Junior League matches, because that one was crazy, but he took out a good hunk of the seats. At one point, Naito goes for a Hurricanrana off the top rope, but Taichi turns it into a super power bomb off I think he was standing on the middle rope technically. Then Naito throws a punch that legit looks like it caught Taichi right in the cheek. Like, it landed flush. He did not pull it back very well. He definitely took it out. Naito spit in Taichi's face a few times during the match. Obviously, these two hate each other. Naito hits a Poison Rana and Gloria, but he can't hit the Destino. Taichi hits a really high angle Saito suplex on Naito's neck, and that is just not good for Naito, given that he has all these neck problems, and one of these days, this is going to catch up to him really bad. I'm surprised he hasn't had any serious, well, he's had some serious injuries, but, you know, I'm surprised how often he lands on his neck, that he hasn't been breaking his neck like a million times at this point. And then Naito hits the Destino, but Taichi kicks out of it, so Naito hits an insanely brutal brainbuster, and then after a little bit, Naito hits another Destino to pick up the win. So in this, Taichi, while he was pissed off at all this going after Naito still shut him down. Taichi is one of these that he's just kind of hanging around in the mid to lower card. It's just kind of his gimmick. His gimmick is really kind of cheesy, and I think he needs to kind of drop his current gimmick if he wants to kind of move up in the card. Like, he's an okay wrestler. He's not a bad wrestler, I guess. And I think it's really just his mannerisms into his gimmick that is kind of the problem. I don't really see his gimmick going much farther than he currently is. So I think he really needs to change up his attitude and stuff to become more of a serious competitor. And then I think he could move on up the card. Maybe a little bit of a new look, but definitely kind of like a new what do you want to call it? A new attitude towards the competition. So, all right, before I get into the next match, somebody wrote TJP. Yes, TJ Perkins has been in New Japan lately. He was on the Super J Cup shows when they were on the Western United States. He was also in the Fighting Spirit shows on the Eastern United States a couple months ago, and he was in the Super Junior Tag League as one of the teams. So he was in there for that whole tour as well. So he's been in Japan for about a month at this point. All right, next up we had the Super Junior Tag League Finals. This was Roppongi 3K, Yo and Sho from Chaos versus El Desperado and Kanemaru from Suzuki-gun. Kanemaru and El Desperado attack Yo and Sho from behind while they're walking to the ring. This has really been a staple of Kanemaru and El Desperado throughout the entire Super Junior Tag Tournament. They attacked pretty much everyone before the bell, though there were a couple teams that did get the jump on them, and they got attacked before the bell, but this has been really par for the course for the Suzuki-gun team. They do kind of all their Suzuki-gun tactics and whatnot. Desperado has also been targeting Sho's back throughout the entire tournament, so not only in the match they had with them, but as well as he attacked Sho's back after a match, after a tag league match. But they've also been in multi-man tags throughout the entire tour opposite each other. So it'd be like Yo and Sho and then like one other person from Chaos against El Desperado, Kanemaru, and maybe another person from Suzuki-gun throughout the entire tour. And Desperado has been beating on Sho's back the whole time. So Sho has his back taped up, and it has been for kind of the last few nights of the tag league. I'm assuming this is not a legit injury because I wouldn't see them, going after a legit injury like this. But Sho ends up getting laid out on the ramp, and he's laid out there for quite some time. Yo is pretty much left to fend for himself, but he manages to fight off a good amount of double teams, but eventually ends up catching up with him. Sho actually finally starts making his way down to the ring, but Desperado is keen on keeping him out of the match, so Desperado does a wicked throw into the barricade with Sho, so he is still out of the match. He hasn't gotten in the match. After a while, Suzuki-gun takes out Sho again on the outside while he's kind of starting to get up. So again, Sho has not entered this match as a legal participant at any time. He's been laid out on the outside a bunch of times. But he eventually does make a recovery and gets a tag in. He uses a bunch of strikes, but his back prevents him from doing the deadlift suplex that he always does to Kanemaru. Kanemaru distracts the ref, and Desperado ends up hitting Sho's back with a chair. So this has really been a constant thing happening between Desperado and Sho. So that happened. And then he gets him into the numero dos, but Yo eventually breaks that up. Desperado goes for the pinche loco, but Sho barely manages to power out of it with a backdrop. Of course, he's selling his back. It's really hurting him at this point. And then Sho eventually hits the deadlift German suplex, and then a power breaker, but he just does not have the energy or the capability to make the cover. So since he's slow to cover, Kanemaru breaks up the pin anyways. So Kanemaru comes in as the illegal man and ends up getting hit with 3K. So that takes him out of the match for a little bit. And then Sho is hit with a spinning side power bomb. I guess that's the best way to put it. He gets a 2 count. Desperado attempts pinche loco again. Sho breaks free once again, and then Sho goes for shock arrow, but Desperado gets out. But Yo has snuck into the ring behind him, and then they hit 3K on Desperado and pick up the win. So for the third year in a row, Yo and Sho have won the Super Junior Tag League, and technically it's the fourth year in a row for a Roppongi team to win, because Roppongi Vice won the year before, 4 years ago. So 4 years in a row, one of Rocky's teams have won the Super Junior Tag League. After the match, though, is kind of where the big thing happens. Yo and Sho are given tag league trophies, but El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori come out and attack Yo and Sho, and they smash them with the titles. And then ELP punches Sho right in the nuts, and then they use a doomsday device, but hitting him with the title instead. And then they pick up the Super Junior Tag League trophies and take them with them, because of course they are the tag champions, and they feel they got screwed out of the finals going into the Super Junior Tag League because they had 10 points. They were the first one to 10 points, actually, and just kind of how it worked out with the tiebreakers. So in the end, going into this, El Desperado and Kanemaru, as well as Yo and Sho and the tag champs Ishimori and El Phantasmo, they all had 10 points. But how it worked out, both Yo and Sho and El Desperado and Kanemaru had wins over ELP and Ishimori. So that's how the tiebreakers broke out. Since they both had wins over the tag champs, they were the ones who got knocked off the bubble, and then we had this match that we just had. So after that, we had the Never Openweight Championship match. This was an excellent match. It was Kenta versus Tomohiro Ishii. Ishii has been one of the guys that has kind of been a perennial figure in the Never Openweight title picture, and up until Kenta had a successful defense at a previous show, the Never Openweight title hadn't been successfully defended all this year. So it has actually had changed hands every time up until Kenta's first defense. And that was the first time anybody successfully defended the Never Openweight Championship this year. So starting off, they beat the living crap out of each other with strikes. It was so many shots. Like, I'm wondering what Kenta's chest looked like, the next morning. Like, he was probably bruised from belly button to neck with how many shots Ishii gave him. It was nuts. It was pretty much the first 10 minutes of the match was just all chops and slaps and forearms and kicks. It looked like this was a painful match to be in. Ishii, then he gets in a bunch of chops that looked like it went directly into Kenta's throat. Like, they were high, so I'm not sure how well protected, if he did manage to hit, right at the collarbone and not at the throat, but it looked like some of them went right into the throat. I don't know how Kenta was still breathing after this. Kenta did start bleeding from the mouth, but I'm not sure where the blood was coming from. I'm guessing that one of those chops to the throat actually might have went a little high and caught him in the mouth, so he might have cut the inside of his mouth on a tooth, or actually had a loose tooth. The match kind of slows down a little bit for a little while. Kenta goes for a couple submissions. And then Kenta hits a super high angle suplex. It looked like Ishii pretty much landed on his head and neck. Like, there was no shoulders to cushion a little bit of the blow. It was definitely high angle. Kenta hits a few psycho knees, but still can't stop Ishii from getting up. And then Kenta suddenly catches Ishii in a go to sleep, but he can't get to the cover because they are both exhausted. He wants to make back up. So he caught Ishii in a go to sleep, but he doesn't go for the cover. He wants to make a statement, so he pulls down his knee pad and hits a second go to sleep on Ishii and picks up the 3 count there. So Kenta has retained, again, the Never Openweight Championship. I don't know where we're going to go with Ishii at this point. He doesn't seem to have too many balls in the air at the moment. He was tagging with Yoshi-Hashi a couple months ago when they were going for the tag titles. So that might be something that to look for in the next couple months, and who knows, they might even go into Wrestle Kingdom to challenge for the tag titles. This match was amazing, and as I was typing these notes, I wrote that this is probably going to be the best match on the card. And then the next match happened. I still think, though, that the Kenta and Ishii match was the best match on this card. So definitely check it out. It's definitely worth watching the Never Openweight Championship match, and actually the 3 title matches on this card were excellent, but definitely Ishii versus Kenta is a must watch. Then we had Ospreay versus Bushi for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. This was Bushi goaded Will Ospreay into this championship match during one of the tag league, actually their last tag league match, because Bushi came out and misted Ospreay, which caused Ospreay and Robbie Eagles to lose that bout and not get to 10 points. So they were eliminated from the finals right there. And of course, right when that happened, Will Ospreay calls out Bushi and basically gave Bushi exactly what he wanted anyway. So Will Ospreay had a little bit of frustration and calling for this match because it was only going to be 2 days later. So it had only happened 2 days before Power Struggle, so he was going to have this match 2 days after that. Kind of played right into Bushi's hand, but it is what it is. Ospreay attacks hard right out of the gate, and they fight on the outside. Ospreay ends up getting smashed in the barricade and on the floor. Ospreay makes a comeback with his high-flying moves until Bushi kind of turns it back around when he hits a draping DDT on the apron. Bushi has been using this recently, and I'm not sure if he used it during the G1. I think he did use it during the G1, but he would basically do a draping DDT, but he would pull the person out over the apron and then do the DDT onto the apron. Ospreay just got spiked. They have a bit of a back and forth, really fast-paced action. Again, this was an excellent match. After a Robinson special, Ospreay goes for an Os cutter, but Bushi blocks it and pushes Ospreay into the ref. And then Ospreay goes to pick up Bushi. And this was a really interesting part of the match. Had never seen this happen before. So he goes to pick up Bushi, and Bushi is just about to give him the mist, and Will Ospreay covers his mouth with his hand, and then Ospreay, he basically kisses Bushi, stealing the mist from him, and then hits Bushi with the mist. Then Ospreay goes for the Os Cutter, and Bushi actually pushes the ref in front of him, and Ospreay ends up giving the Os Cutter to Red Shoes, the ref. Bushi then gets the knees up for a shooting star press that he goes for. A new ref finally comes down after Bushi hits Ospreay with a miss. So now both men have been misted at this point. A new ref comes down. Bushi hits the MX, but Ospreay kicks out. Bushi then goes up to the top rope, and Ospreay ends up hitting a Os Cutter out of midair when Bushi goes for a dive, and then Ospreay hits Hidden Blade, and then hits a Super Os Cutter, and then hits Stormbreaker and picks up the win. This match was awesome. The crowd was insanely hot for this match, and I wrote down what I said about the previous match before seeing this one. And like I said, I still think Ishii and Kenta was just a little bit better than this match, but this match was excellent. Ospreay, after the match, picks up the mic and says, "Is there anyone else?" He's beaten everyone. He yells, "Anyone? Anyone?" And then as Ospreay is getting out of the ring, the arena goes dark. And then suddenly up on the screen, there's a countdown timer with a time bomb set to explode, and the timer is set to, it's in hours, but it turns out to be 62 days away, which is at Wrestle Kingdom. And then a cat with a cartoon bomb shows up on the screen, and then the cat lights the bomb, and then there's a countdown timer from 10, and then Hiromu Takahashi comes out onto the stage. So Hiromu is back after breaking his neck at one of the G1 specials in the US. I believe it was the San Francisco show last year. So he has been out for about 15 months. We haven't seen him. He comes down to the ring and gives his cats to the commentary team before running around like a wild man and throwing himself into the barricade. And then he gets into the ring. Will Ospreay says he was waiting for him. He doesn't say this over the mic. He just says it to him, but you can hear it on the camera. Hiromu grabs the mic and says, "I'm Hiromu Tanahashi. Thank you for waiting for me, and thanks you for waiting for him for so long." And now he's going to go back to make the junior heavyweight division a lot more fun. And then he says, "But can I really go?" And then he says, "You just came back. You should be working a safer style. Who else?" And then he says, "But who else other than me can beat the champion? It's only me, and I'm going to show it to you." So he ends up throwing himself around the ring, taking a bunch of bumps, and then he does like a bridge up using his neck. And then Hiromu challenges Ospreay for Wrestle Kingdom. They hug, and then Hiromu retrieves his stuffed cats and leaves. So it is great to see Hiromu back, but I hope he doesn't hurt himself given the style that he works. If he's going to continue working the style that he has been, the one that led to his broken neck, I'm going to be a little fearful watching him work for a little while. Just like, when anybody comes back from serious injury and you see them take a bump similar to the one that sent them out to begin with. So I'm going to be biting my nails, and I don't bite my nails at all while watching that match. And then we had the final match of the night, which was the IWGP Intercontinental Championship match between Hirooki Goto and Jay White. So going into the match, story-wise, we're looking at Goto beat Jay White at the G1, and even though White wasn't the champion at the time, he feels that, he should be the next in line to fight White, regardless if he has the title. But since he has the title now, it's going to be on the line. As the match starts, White is really doing his heel tactics that he had been doing throughout the G1, and really he's kind of grown into the role since the G1. White powders immediately. He rolls out of the ring, and he's just doing a lot of stalling and chicken heel work. Some people complain about Jay White's, actions doing this type of things, but he's a heel, so this is kind of the thing that he should be doing, and I've really started to enjoy his work as a heel, doing this type of kind of he's kind of a little bit of a bitchy heel, and kind of wants to stay out of trouble, or kind of stay out of the match as much as possible, and he wants every advantage possible that he can get. But then Goto starts getting some strikes in on White. Gato ends up getting a cheap shot from behind on the outside while the ref is distracted. And then White hits Goto with a chair while Gato has the ref distracted. He also runs Goto into the barricade a few times. And then he suplexes Goto into the barricade. So kind of like you see people do the suplex into the turnbuckle. He does that into the barricade. White continues to work on Goto's back, so that's kind of a reoccurring thing throughout the rest of this match. He's working on the back, hitting strikes into the back. Goto then eggs White on into a striking exchange, and it does not go well for White. White ends up getting clobbered a bunch of times. White will get 3 shots in, and then Goto will hit 1 and drop him. They did kind of the sequence a couple times in a row. Then White gets dumped to the outside. Goto ends up hitting... White ends up dumping Goto to the outside, and while he's flipping over the top rope, he hits his lower back on the edge of the ring apron before falling off to the outside. They fight on the outside, where Goto sends White into the barricade multiple times. Then he hits a spinning leg kick in the corner, hits a Saito suplex to White. White then snaps Goto's head back over the top rope and then hits him with a Death Valley driver for a 2 count. And then Goto hits a desperation suplex and clothesline, and then both men are laid out at this point. Once they get up, Goto drops White 3 times in a striking exchange. White dumps Goto to the outside again, and then he rolls him right back into the ring. White hits a Uranagi, then a Kiwi Crusher for a 2 count, and then Goto hits a desperation neck breaker across his knee. Man, he has some serious neck breakers, and they look like they hurt like hell. We are at 20 minutes into the match at this point. White perches Goto up on the top turnbuckle. Goto tries to fight out of it. White fights back and hits a suplex on Goto. White goes to pick up Goto, but Goto ends up picking him up and hitting a Ushigoroshi. White escapes a GTR attempt 3 times. They go through some reversals. Goto gets out of a Blade Runner. Gato ends up jumping up onto the ring apron to distract the ref. White hits a low blow. He hits a sleeper suplex, but then Goto hits him with a headbutt and then another. Then hits a reverse GTR and then hits a Shotenkai. But White ends up kicking out of the move, which that is actually the move that White lost to in the G1, so he is kicked out of the Shotenkai. Both men are drained at this point. They reverse each other's finishers multiple times, and then White hits another sleeper suplex to Goto. Goto gets right up and hits a GTW for a 2 count, and then he hits a GTR, but the ref is pulled out of the ring. Gato gets into the ring, but Shibata runs in to take Gato out, and then actually Kenta runs out and gives Goto a go to sleep. then attacks Shibata, and then he hits Shibata with this big boot, which knocks him off to the outside. He gets thrown into the barricade. I'll talk about this in a minute. White gives Goto a Blade Runner and then picks up the win. So Jay White has retained the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. So one thing here, Shibata was out on commentary. Now, obviously, what is the deal with Shibata at this point? Because he took some serious bumps during the sequence. Is Shibata cleared now? Like, I'm not sure they would set up a possible Kenta Shibata match. I mean, they did this at the end of the G1, but they stayed away from his head. In this case, he took a boot to the face, which knocked him off the apron, and then was thrown into the barricade. So I don't know. Are they going to set up this Kenta Shibata match and with knowing they're not going to be able to have it? Or is Shibata cleared now? I mean, he was close to dying from the injury he received when he did that headbutt and needed, serious surgery. So I can't imagine he's cleared, but I don't know why they would even allow him to take these type of bumps without being cleared. So now I am very interested how this goes if Shibata is actually cleared and maybe coming back to wrestling. But man, given how serious the injury was, I don't know if I'd want to risk it at this point. Then after the match, White gets on the mic and he says he did what he said he was going to do. He single-handedly sold out Madison Square Garden. He's still the IC champ, and he's going to be the first one to be the IC champ and the heavyweight champ. And he wants to face the winner of Okada and Ibushi. And he says for them to come down, but Naito comes out instead. The previous owner of the IC title wants his title back. He walks down to the ring and grabs the mic and says, holding both titles at once, it sounds like an idea I had. That the IC title, I think it's time you gave it back to me. So Naito is challenging Jay White for the IC title. He wants it back, but then Kota Ibushi makes his way down to the ring and says, it's been a while since I've seen both of you two in the ring, but I have the same plans when it comes to the two belts. January 4th, I will change my life in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but there's one more person that needs to be here, and he calls out Okada. Okada makes his way down to the ring. He says, what are you talking about? You all want double titles? What the hell is this all about? I'm proud of this. I'm proud to fight for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. This is the belt in New Japan Pro Wrestling, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Double title match, heavyweight match, double title match, heavyweight match, and then he wants to put it out to a vote for the fans. And he takes a little dig at Naito. You know about votes, right? Referring back to a few years ago when Naito had won the G1 and he had the briefcase, but he had lost the briefcase due to some, I wasn't watching at this time, but I believe it was some fan voting of who actually wanted to see a different title match. So it was like voted off of Naito. So that's a nice little callback. White says he had enough and he's getting the F out of here, and it's his night. He wants everybody to leave. He wants his confetti celebration. So all the other guys walk off and he gets his confetti celebration. So we now look like, well, it's actually been announced. So at Wrestle Kingdom on night 1, we're going to be having Okada versus Ibushi for the heavyweight championship and Naito versus Jay White for the Intercontinental Championship. And the winners of both of those matches will face each other the next night at Wrestle Kingdom night 2. So it sounds like we are definitely going to have the first double champion after night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom. Now, who it will be, I really don't know at this point. I'm assuming, of course, who the heck knows? Because Gato's booking is really good, so I could see him pulling something strange out of his hat. But most likely, Kota Ibushi is going to win the heavyweight title match between him and Okada. I am not sure what's going to happen with Naito and Jay White. I am thinking Jay White will retain the Intercontinental Championship, and then Kota Ibushi will take it off of him the following night. At least that is my thought on it. Who knows? Gato's really good at throwing monkey wrenches into a lot of things, and a lot of the times you don't see what's coming. He's pretty good at that. So during this show, we had a few future matches coming up. We have the U.S. Championship match between Finlay and Lance Archer. That's going to be happening on the November 9th, so just in a couple days at the San Jose show. And then we have the Intercontinental Championship matches at Wrestle Kingdom, and then we have the Heavyweight Championship matches at Wrestle Kingdom. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. We have the World Tag League starting next week, I believe on the 16th. I'm not sure if any of the matches at San Jose are going to be tag league matches, but there is a massive number of people in the tag league this year. We have 16 teams, so it is going to be a lot of matches. I haven't totally checked out the schedule. It's one block. I'm not sure if every team is going to face every other team. That would be a lot of matches. I mean, the 16 teams, so that means every team would have to have 15 matches. So 15 times 15 is a lot of matches. So I haven't seen the actual plan behind it yet, but I am hoping that it is not just, every single person, and it's just going to be like every team's going to do like 8 matches maybe. But I have not seen the exact schedule at this point or how they're going to do this. But I will be watching as many of the matches as possible. Hopefully it's not a ton, but it's going to be running from I believe November 16th is when they get back to Japan after coming to the US. So most of the matches are going to take place between the 16th and early December. I think somewhere around the 9th or so is when the finals are. I will have to check that. Hold on, let me check the schedule right here. I'm looking at it right now. So we have a New Japan show in the U.S., one in San Jose, one in L.A., so the 9th and 11th. And then, yes, we have the Tag League starting on the 16th, and that's going to go until the final will actually be, looks like December 8th. But it is packed. There are very few off days. And then, of course, we have Thanksgiving over here, but they do not have Thanksgiving over there. So, yeah, there are very few days off they have. Just going right at the beginning, they got 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th of November. So they got 4 days in a row. So they're going to pound out a lot of matches. So hopefully I can keep up. And then Road to Tokyo Dome starts December 19th. There are going to be 3 shows leading up to Wrestle Kingdom, the 19th, 20th, and 21st. And then they have a pretty good break. That's like 2-week break before Wrestle Kingdom 14 in the Tokyo Dome, which is going to be 2 nights this year. So I'm curious how this is going to go. Are they going to have a slightly shorter show? Like last year, the show was really long. So I'm hoping that the 2 shows together are not nearly as long each as the other shows. But right now, so far at Wrestle Kingdom, we have the Intercontinental Championship match. We have the Heavyweight Championship match that I just talked about. We also have a Junior Heavyweight Championship match with Hiromu Takahashi versus Will Ospreay. And then we have Yushin Thunder Liger's retirement match. So that will be interesting. It looks like it's going to be a 8-man tag for that on night 1. And then on night 2, we have the winner of the heavyweight and intercontinental championship matches. So we have the double championship match, and then we have the special singles match, which is Tanahashi versus Chris Jericho. And then the junior tag championship match will be Yo and Sho versus Taiji Ishimori and El Phantasmo, since Yo and Sho on Power Struggle just won the Super Junior Tag League. So that's what they get for winning that. So that is where we stand at the moment with New Japan. Obviously, all these shows for the World Tag League are probably going to come out with some more implications for the Tokyo Dome, so I'll try to keep you abreast of those. So tomorrow I am going to probably do my prediction show for Full Gear. So that's going to be Friday, and then after Full Gear, I will be going live for the Full Gear post show. And then I think the next time after that, you'll probably see me either on Sunday or Monday, depending on how the San Jose show goes. I'm guessing the show in San Jose will be pretty packed with a decent lineup. For the most part, it's going to be multi-man tags, but we do have a British Cruiserweight Championship, which is probably Rev Pro, I'm guessing, between El Phantasmo. Yeah, so it's Rev Pro British Cruiserweight Championship match against Sho. We also have the U.S. Championship match between David Finlay and Lance Archer. So those are 2 title matches that will be taking place in San Jose. So I will probably come back on Monday, because on Monday they also have another show. But right now, it doesn't look like there's any important matches taking place that Monday. So I'll probably see you Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday for the next New Japan show, and AEW tomorrow and Saturday, and then of course back again Wednesday night for Wednesday Night Dynamite. Like I said at the beginning, if you're interested in co-hosting with me, whether it be for just AEW or just New Japan or just once in a while for either of them, let me know. Shoot me an email, eric@thatswrestling.com. If you want to shoot me an email, question, comments, feedback, discussion topics you'd like to hear about, New Japan related, AEW related, those are kind of the major promotions that I'm focused on right now. I have not watched WWE in a very long time, so I can't help you out there. But, kind of some indie stuff or anything that's, you're kind of thinking about, you can shoot me an email and maybe we can talk about it. Or if you just have a discussion topic that you'd like to send in, and maybe I can even pull you on Skype or whatever, and we can hook up and talk about whatever. Yeah. Other than that, if you're watching this on YouTube, you want to get this as a podcast, search in all your favorite podcast directories. If you can't find it in one of the podcast directories, shoot me an email to let me know which directory you can't find it in so I can get it added. And otherwise, you can go to thatswrestling.com to pick up the RSS feed over there. If you are listening to this as a podcast, I have been doing all the shows streaming live on YouTube. So head over to the YouTube channel. The link is in the show notes, and subscribe to that and click the notification bell. It'll let you know when I'm going live. I do the post show for AEW live after Dynamite. I will be doing it live after the pay-per-view as well, within 10-15 minutes or so, just so I can get situated and have a bathroom break and maybe get some food or water or something like that. Of course, New Japan shows will be a little less consistent because their schedule is very inconsistent. So I do them when I can. Big shows I try to review within a day or two, and I will try to put up a planned event ahead of time. I put this one up the day before, so it was scheduled for 8 o'clock Eastern, and I went a little bit after that. So if you want to check out these shows live, you can come hang out in the chat and participate. If we start getting more people, I will be able to open up a Skype line, phone line, Discord line, and people can call in and talk about what's going on. So that is all I got for you today. Come back tomorrow and Saturday and probably Sunday or Monday. So thanks for watching, And thanks for listening to That's Wrestling. See you later, guys.